The Galactic Academy of Sciences had seen thousands of species pass through its halls over the centuries. Crystalline beings from Nexara, gas-form entities from the Helix Nebula, even the rare silicon-based Terrans with their metallic exoskeletons. But never had the Academy's most advanced genetic scanners produced results quite like this. Marcus Thompson sat in the sterile examination chamber, watching the Zephyrian professor's 4 eyes widen with each passing moment. The tall, blue-skinned alien's usually composed demeanor had cracked entirely, replaced by something approaching panic. "This cannot be correct," Professor Veltar muttered in accented standard, his translator struggling with his rapidly shifting emotional state. "Run the sequence again." The holographic display flickered, showing Marcus's genetic code in brilliant detail. Double helices spiraled through the air, but unlike every other species sample in the Academy's vast database, this one pulsed with an energy signature that made the scanning equipment emit worried beeps. "Sir, the readings are consistent across 17 separate tests," the Zephyrian lab assistant reported, her voice tight with confusion. "The human's DNA contains active sequences we've never encountered. They're generating heat signatures and electromagnetic pulses." Marcus shifted uncomfortably. Ever since arriving at the Academy as Earth's first exchange student, he'd felt different. Not just culturally, that was expected, but physically. His body temperature ran higher than normal, even by human standards. Sometimes, when he was angry or excited, electronics would malfunction around him. His dorm mates had started calling it the Marcus effect. "What exactly are you seeing?" Marcus asked, trying to keep his voice steady. Professor Veltar's tentacles twitched nervously as he manipulated the holographic controls. "Your genetic markers contain active sequences that shouldn't exist in carbon-based life forms. The energy output alone should have killed you in utero, yet somehow your body has adapted to channel it." The professor paused the display and enhanced a particular segment. "These sequences, they're familiar. Run a cross-reference with the fossil database." The lab fell silent, except for the hum of processing computers. Marcus watched the genetic patterns spin lazily in the air, noting how they seemed to pulse with an inner fire. For a moment, he could have sworn he felt an echo of that pulse in his own chest. Then the computer chimed. "Match found," the synthetic voice announced. "Genetic sequence compatibility 97.3%, with specimen designation Draconis majoris, extinct species, planet designation Terra Sol 3. The room erupted. The lab assistant dropped her datapad. Professor Veltar stumbled backward, his blue skin paling to an almost white shade. Even the typically unflappable artificial intelligence seemed to pause before continuing. Specimen Draconis majoris was recovered from sedimentary layers dating approximately 65 million standard years ago. Classification: apex predator, presumed intelligent, capable of controlled plasma generation through specialized organ systems. Marcus felt the world tilt. "You're saying I'm related to dragons?" "Not related," Professor Veltar whispered, his voice filled with something between awe and terror. "According to these readings, you carry active sequences from creatures your own species considered mythological. The genetic markers aren't just simple, they're integrated into your human DNA as if they belonged there." The implications hit the room like a shockwave. Every species in the galaxy had their extinct ancestors, their evolutionary dead ends. But none had ever shown active genetic material from creatures that lived millions of years before their current form evolved. "How is this possible?" the lab assistant breathed. Marcus stood slowly, feeling that familiar warmth building in his chest. For the first time in his life, it didn't feel wrong or dangerous. It felt like coming home. "Maybe," he said quietly, watching the genetic display pulse in rhythm with his heartbeat, "humans aren't as young a species as we thought. Maybe we're not the first intelligence Earth produced." The professor's 4 eyes fixed on him with new understanding. "Your species doesn't just carry the genes of dragons," he said, his voice filled with dawning realization. "You are the dragons. Evolved, adapted, but still carrying the fire of your ancestors." In the silence that followed, Marcus smiled. Finally, he understood why he'd always felt like he was meant for something more than just being human. He was meant to be both.